Hi guys, and welcome back to another Shaun the Buffalo video. Hope you've all been well. And today we are doing a little introduction to the Legacy format. Now, I'm sure many players, both new and old, have seen that Legacy is an option that you can choose on the ladder, and not a lot of people play it, honestly, and it's a really cool format where you get to enjoy cards that are even older than the cards that are in Expanded, all the way back to the Heart Gold Soul Silver era, which came out a very long time ago. Now, when playing Legacy for new players and even old players that are new to the format, my recommendation would be to acquire as many packs that are the latest in Legacy as opposed to the oldest in Legacy. And the only reason why I say that is because the cards are the most similar to the cards that we already have access to, in regards to power creep and the fact that there's rule boxes which allow for two prize Pokemon as opposed to all of them just being one prize Pokemon and as such. There's energy acceleration here and there. Some of the supporters are absolutely broken, so yeah, getting the newest version of the Legacy format packs is the best way to go. And I myself am actually looking for some cards to actually complete one of my Legacy decks, which is a deck called Virizion Genesect, which uses Celebi Prime to accelerate some energy into play, and then you basically just sweep with Genesect effectively, because if you can find the G booster, which you should be able to find, because I'm pretty sure Computer Search came out of one of these packs. Yeah, you can use Computer Search to find it and all sorts. And also, I'm opening these packs during this conversation just so you can sort of see the cards that come out of these packs and try and figure out in your own heads, watching this video, if there are any cool sort of combinations that any of you can cook up yourselves. So one of the most popular decks in the Legacy format is the Rayquaza deck, which runs this Electric engine. This is the Dynamo. Well, there's many Dynamos, but that's one of the Dynamos. And basically, Electric is like Malamar, and if you're a more newer player than you having knowledge to the the Psychic Research. Psychic Recharge Malamar, if you're a newer player than you have knowledge of that, then basically all it does is you choose a lightning energy and you discard, as in the Electric this is, choose an electric energy and you discard and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. It's as simple as that. It's just basically recurring energy acceleration. So that's what makes Rayquaza so strong, because its attack deals 60 times the amount of damage that you actually discard off it, either fire or lightning. But obviously you use Electric, so you have a constant 3 extra energy per turn, plus your attachment, which effectively means you can hit for 240, which in the Legacy format KOs everything. So that's why Rayquaza is very strong. Obviously it has access to that. And if your opponent can't get rid of your Electrics in time, then they're just going to have a really hard time. They're just going to struggle against Rayquaza. And the reason why most decks struggle against Rayquaza is because they can't use Mewtwo EX, which is another card in the Legacy format, to combat the Rayquaza. What the Mewtwo EX does has an attack called X-Ball, which is very similar to the Tapu Lele's attack. If you're a newer player to the Shield and Sword era, you won't know what Tapu Lele GX did. But if you remember Tapu Lele GX, it basically did 20 times the amount of damage on both active Pokemon. But because of Rayquaza's attack to discard those energy, you don't actually take a whole lot of damage from the Mewtwo because you've already discarded your energy after you've initiated your attack. So, as I was talking before about Legacy format having energy acceleration, there is a card that can put Plasma Energy onto one of your Pokemon you play called Colress Machine. So, it's basically like a very specific deck related energy accelerator, but it's a very good energy accelerator, that's going to be said. Master Ball is one of the A-Specs that you have access to. A-Specs are specifically in the Legacy format and the Expanded format, because it came out in these packs, which Expanded format still has access to. Don't know why someone would try that now when I'm in the middle of recording, but yeah, it's just one of those cards that you have access to. A spec you can only ever run one of in your deck, but it's an extremely good deck. So extremely good card, sorry, because it can search any Pokemon. But there are much better A specs which potentially we can discover by opening these packs. Haven't found any of the cards that I'm looking for as of yet. And for our newer players to Legacy format, what I would say to you is, obviously because the codes aren't still available to buy for Legacy format, I don't know why my glasses are dirty, because the codes aren't still available to buy, you have to grind the ladder, and my advice would be to invest in a deck that's known as the Donk deck. Now, I'm going to show the Donk deck at the end of this video, and it is basically the easiest way to get to 12 wins every day. It's the fastest way to get to 12 wins every day. A lot of your opponents will end up conceding, and the matches that you know you're not going to win, you get to concede yourself. But even better than that, the Donk deck is one of these sorts of decks that actually requires a mastery of using your cards correctly. And the term for that, if you're a newer player, is sequencing. It's the order of which you play your cards to maximise maximise the effectiveness of those cards. So with the Donk deck comes a whole lot of things like Acrobike, Judge Whistle, Trainer's Mail. Now all these cards either draw or thin through your deck, but knowing when to draw and knowing when to use a Trainer's Mail to drag a trainer out of the deck when you're looking for a Pokemon specifically, so you want to thin your deck of trainers prior to using Judge Whistle, for example, takes a lot of skill to master. And I can honestly say, even to this day, and I've been playing Donk a lot recently because I want to maximise my ability to use sequencing to the best of my potential, because that's what makes the real Pokemon TCG masters, their ability to sequence flawlessly, to make sure that they never skip a beat, to make sure that every card is used in the correct order to maximise the effectiveness of the card that turn, whether it be for deck thinning purposes, for taking a knockout, or for conserving resources. Like there's many ways that you can look at a card before you play it and think, how do I maximise the effect of this card? This is an amazing card in the expanded / Legacy format, by the way. It literally is a weaker version of Tapu Lele, and it grabs you a supporter card from your deck, put it into your hands and shuffle your deck afterwards when you put it onto the bench, that is. And I'm talking a whole lot during this video, so definitely going to have to grab a drink after this video, that's for sure. These cards, there are better versions of the late trio, and they're only in expanded only. They basically make your weakness hit for double. So obviously weakness, you already hit for double damage, but the late trio that we've got access to in expanded, which I think came out of Lost Thunder, actually double the amount of damage you can hit. Which is basically, it's a niche little tech. It's basically just used to break world records on PTCGO effectively. Who can hit the highest damage cap? What's the world record for the highest damage on PTCGO? Things like that. So that's mainly what they're used for. You could also use them for the dual typing Pokemon that do exist that came around in Steam Siege. Oh, I forgot to have a look at a card then. There's a card that I just opened then. It was a Cradilly card that has an attack life explosion that puts a bunch of stage 2s into play. So they're really good for expanded and legacy. It's even better for legacy because stage 2s are harder to get into in legacy because of the lack of item search or supporter item search, things like that. There's a lot less powerful cards in legacy. So using cards like the Cradilly is an easy way to get your stage 2s into play. So haven't pulled a single Virizion or Genesect yet, so it's not going well. 45 packs. Still got 11 to go, I think. One thing's for sure, I'll have definitely 100%ed this set with the amount of coins that I've spent on this set. So, not getting anything amazing. Just hoping for a single Genesect, which isn't going well. Most of the hollows in this set are bad, I will say that much. And you know, if you're wanting to increase the value of your account as opposed to playing for fun like me, then I'd say open up Plasma Freeze, because there is a gold version of Ultra Ball in Plasma Freeze, which will increase your account's current worth. That being said, they're not tradable cards, but they're just a pretty card that people they're very sought after, basically. So the future's not looking bright with these cards that I've opened so far. There's the Cradily again that I mentioned. Every energy attached to it, you just search your deck for a stage 2 Pokemon, put it onto your bench. In Expanded, you also have a card called Super Boost Energy, which means you can get 4 stage 2s out of your deck and fill up your bench entirely, which is crackers. They lead to some very complicated and yet amazingly strong decks. G-Booster for the Genesect, which I already had. That's the one that I was telling you about, that you basically sweep everything in Legacy with the Genesects after you've accelerated with Celebi Primes, get some Grass Energy into play, or indeed even Virizian's attack itself. Nice full art Dialga X, shame it's such a terrible, terrible, terrible card. And I think this is my last pack of Legacy. So yeah, that was my last pack of the Plasma Freeze. Not going to bother opening any more packs, so let's try and keep one of everything in my account. But what I will do, as I was talking about Legacy, is show you the deck that I was talking about before, the Rayquaza deck. So I have already done a video on this, which you'll be able to find on my profile, on my YouTube account even, or channel. And basically, this is what the deck revolves around. It's Electric. And like it says, once during turn 4 your attack, you may attach a Lightning Energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. And with cards like the Keldeo, which has Rushing, and then you can attach a Float Stone to it, you can put Keldeo into the active to put the Rayquaza back to the bench if it hasn't been knocked out. Charge up energy to it again via the Electric, and then go back into the active and potentially take another knockout. So that's like where in the strength of Rayquaza lies, because most EXs of that era have 170 to 180 HP tops. And then if you discard 3 energy, which should be 3 lightnings, you should have attached a fire energy for your turn, and charged up 3 electrics, or there should already be a fire energy on Rayquaza if it wasn't knocked out. You can then obviously charge up 2 and attach a lightning energy from hand, and you hit for 180. So card's done basically. Like it's just extremely powerful. And then I'll just show you some other access to cards that we've got access to in both Expanse and Legacy. Primarily this card, which is from, I think it was Heart Gold Soul Silver Triumphant, I think that symbol is. Now, this card, if this was ever reprinted in modern day, would see a 4 of in every deck, I'm certain. Like, the fact that it doesn't grab an item card, if you read it, it says, search your discard pile for a trainer card. So, it can be a discard 2 and effectively be a Versa Seeker, grab a supporter, can grab an item to think through more cards out your deck, get more Pokemon, whatever the case may be. And it also means that with Junkarm, you can effectively play one-off cards, but that one-off card you have access to 5 times with the one-off and your 4 Junkarms. So cards like, for example, Tool Scrapper. Everyone plays a one-off of this in Expanse and Legacy because Garbotoxin is such a powerful effect that shuts off abilities. and obviously you don't want that to happen to Rayquaza, because most of your power of this deck comes from abilities. So you play Tool Scrapper to get rid of the ability locking Toxin, but then even if they put another tool on it, you have access to Junk Arm to discard 2 cards and get Tool Scrapper back, and then discard their tool again. So that card is like probably the most broken card that exists in the Legacy format. And here is my A-Spec of choice. As I was mentioning earlier, A-Specs are insanely powerful cards, and you can only run a one-of copy in any deck. Discard 2 cards and search your deck for any card is basically the short and twisty of that text right there. Search for any card just by discarding 2 cards. Broke. Like, it's just, they're really good. And if cards like that ever come back, the format will get all twisted up again, because having one-offs like that are just like so done. We all know this one. This is basically the old version of what is now the new with Bench Barrier, so it's got the same ability, Bench Barrier. It's just got a little bit more HP, which I don't know why Mew as a legendary didn't have more HP. Like, riddle me this, Pokemon TCG, riddle me this. And then obviously we have the Jirachi, because in Legacy you can't play Tapu Lele. And this card is also one of the most broken cards in Legacy format. So all of these cards, like, you do have to get a lot of cards from different sets, but you can basically build a deck off primarily just Noble Victories, and I'm pretty sure this Zekrom, the Zekroms are like easy to get as well. All you need to do as well is, if you can save your tickets just up here and you can play expanded events get you some occasionally legacy packs, so or access to cards that can be used in the legacy format. So that's why you conserve your tickets, build yourself a good deck, and then plow on through expanded. Like, it's just the easiest way to get coins as well. Like, because a lot of the decks that I played in the expanded tournaments are like not good. I'm on 1 ticket now because I just finished an expanded tournament then, and I went against a random grass deck that had nothing going for it. A random Lucario Melmetal stall thing that was not very good. I was playing Zoroark Eternus, and then some other deck that isn't even worth mentioning. It was like literally that bad. So if you can build yourself a half decent expanded deck and just play the expanded tournaments, you'll likely get yourself so many keys, so many coins, that you'll be able to enter Legacy really easily. And then, other than a really good expanded deck, having access to the Donk deck, which I'll go into now, or in a second once I finish explaining this, is also a very good way to grind coins on the ladder. So what other cards do we have access to? This was one of the most broken cards ever printed. Like, it just is. It inflicts poison and potentially sleep, and it's an item, so you can't even just play 1 per turn. Like, I do only play, I play 2, but it means that if you really, really need a turn to stall and you're hoping your opponent gets put to sleep and you don't get it off your first Hypnotoxic Laser, you could potentially just play another one and hopefully put them to sleep then and hope they don't wake up. Like, the card's just done, and then obviously on top of that, it's inflicting damage through poison every turn. Combined with this card, it's like a sickening combination. Put 2 more damage counters on poison Pokemon between turns. So they take 3 damage at the end of every turn, which means you can then put less resources into a Pokemon that you're attacking with, so that if you take a knockout, you lose less resource in the process because you haven't had to attach as much to use potentially a much more powerful attack, because they're already taking damage from Verbank City and the Hypnotoxic Laser. So a lot of you people that watch my videos will already know all this, so this is basically a recap for a lot of you, but it's just for, you know, I know when I first joined the game, I was like, ooh, Legacy, what's that? And then I clicked Legacy in the deck manager, which is here. I clicked Legacy and I realised I had access to like 0 cards from it. So wasn't great, obviously. But you know, it didn't take me that long to acquire the cards. There's Battle Arena decks on eBay. Honestly, the Battle Arena deck will get you going in Expanded and Legacy like that. It's a really good product, and it barely costs anything. Unless of course scalpers have bloody had their way with that already, because I know what they're like. Scrubs, absolute scrubs. So, as I was mentioning, the best way to grind for coins on the ladder is this deck. So, this deck has one win condition and one win condition only, and the deck is called Donk for a reason. One of the win conditions of the Pokemon TCG in the rulebook is that if your opponent doesn't have a Pokemon to promote when a Pokemon of theirs is knocked out, they lose the game. So therefore you win the game because you're playing this deck. And your two attackers of this deck are Pheromosa with Fast Raid and Latios EX with Fast Raid. Now the reason I play both is because to make Donk the most efficient it can be, I've played as many ways to manipulate different typings. Sorry, there's random fly in my room. As many ways to hit for weakness as possible, because it's hard to donk very high HP Pokemon. Like tag teams, for example. Anyone that's played Pokemon TCG recently will know what Pikachu and Zekrom GX is. That's a tag team that has 240 HP. Now you might think, how the hell are you going to hit for 240 HP when your attack's only doing 30? Basically, the idea behind that is to use this Marshadow, which has fighting typing, so you hit Pikachu and Zekrom for weakness, and then you only have to hit it for 120. In between all the Zigzagoon pings that you drop in with Headbutt Tantrum that puts a damage counter on Pikachu and Zekrom, you then have to hit for 20 less each time, basically, because of you're doubling up for weakness. So you only need to hit for 110 basically if you've already put 2 damage counters on Pikachu and Zekrom. So that's basically how it works. You just basically, it's all trainers. You use one supporter. It's the only support you can use going first to draw some cards. And everything in the deck is literally about deck thinning, draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hands. That fly's annoying me now. Acrobike, look at the top 2, put 1 in your hand, discard it. That's a thin through 2 cards straight away. Judge Whistle. This is for any of people that have moved from Yu-Gi-Oh to Pokemon, exactly like how I did. This is basically your upstart goblin in the game. It just says, draw a card. That's the only effect you use it for in this deck, because you don't play Judge. So you just literally draw a card. But rather than giving your opponent 1,000 life points, you literally just draw a card. The draw power in Pokemon is unbelievable. And again, for any new players to the game that have left Yu-Gi-Oh to come and join us over on the Pokemon TCG recently, that is something you will have to get used to. The fact that there is no such thing as +1s or -1s in the world of Pokemon, because you have access to cards that can say things like, discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Now, if a card like that exists in Yu-Gi-Oh, the game would just be shut down immediately. Like, it'd be out the window in a Bitcoin money, lad. So, I'm not going to talk anymore about Yu-Gi-Oh anyway. So yeah, literally, all this deck is a bunch of Pokemon that all have some sort of effect, either in the discard, or like on the board they do things when you put them into play. And then obviously you want to get certain Pokemon into the discard, your attackers primarily, if you're needing to hit for psychic weakness with Mewtwo, or if you're looking to hit for fighting weakness with Marshadow. And one last thing that I will talk about regarding Legacy is actually the cards that I was looking for out those packs. So if anyone has these cards for trade, I'm just putting this out there as a quick little snippet at the end of the video, that I need these cards, and if someone's willing to trade me these cards, or potentially even allow me to buy them off their account, or like sell them on eBay, whatever the case may be, I don't know if that's a rule breaking thing or not, I guess I'll find out, then I am looking for these cards. So this is number 1 that I only have 1 copy of at the moment. It's Genesect DX. And like I say, this is so powerful because you can accelerate Grass Energy into play with Selby Prime. I've got plenty of that card. And also it has Red Signal, which can gust in your opponent's Pokemon if you attach a Plasma Energy to it, which is insane. Now that effect has been reprinted throughout recent years in Pokemon TCG, the most famous being Lycanroc GX. And Lycanroc GX seen a whole ton of play in 2 different decks, primarily Zoroark Lycanroc and Buzz Rock, which is Buzzwole GX Lycanroc. And this has basically a similar effect. This is more costly, so when Lycanroc came out, that's why it was so broken, because all you had to do was evolve into Lycanroc to have that effect. And as we all know, when it comes to the end of games, usually all you hear is boss for game, boss for game in the case of ATP. So being able to gust in your opponent's active Pokemon, because that is this effect, is basically boss's orders, or Lysander as you guys might know it. That's what makes this this card so ridiculously powerful. So yeah, I'm looking for 2 to 3 of these if anyone's got any for trade, and then I think the other one, I don't know if I can spell it right. Let's see. There we go. Is this one? I need 1 more of this as well. So this is a card in Expanded that each of your Pokemon that have Grass Energy attached to them can't be affected by special conditions, so you're immediately Hypnotoxic Laser proof, which is insane because the Hypnotoxic Laser is literally played in near enough every single Legacy deck, like it just is, because it's so good with Magnetic. And then its actual attack in itself, which you basically attach to it going first, and you can Celebi prior to it even going second, and potentially be able to Emerald Slash straight away. It searches another 2 energy out of your deck and attaches them to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's very reminiscent of Tag Bolt GX, although, not Tag Bolt, sorry, Full Blitz from Pikachu and Zekrom GX, which accelerates energy into play, and we all know that to be the best tag team that ever did exist, other than Arceus, Dialga, Palkia GX. I am only giving out 1 code for this video, and it is in the fashion of the video being about older sets, going to be a code for an older set. So here is if my camera will focus, a Steam Siege code for any of my viewers who is lucky enough to get that, and hopefully you'll get like a Volcanion EX or a Gardevoir EX or something like that, something good. And if you do get something good, don't forget to comment it in the comment section and let me know. It's always nice to know that the codes that I provide for people do actually help the people that watch my videos. That is what my videos are all about, basically. I do enjoy making the videos, of course, but my videos are more, if you have a look at some of my budget series and things like that, they're more for helping people who want to play the game at either a serious or competitive level, or need some tips to get into, like, they've just got into the game and they don't want to spend a whole lot of money all at once, so how do I build a budget deck that's competitively viable? Go and check out my budget series. It's as simple as that, really. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's been very informative. I hope you've taken away a lot of information from it. I know I talk fast and I talk loads, so if you've needed at any point to put the video on 0.5 speed, then I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, there was a lot of information to cover, because Legacy format is not something that's just straightforward. It is something that does take a lot of research to get into, and you know, you've got to research what decks you're going to be interested in and all the rest of it. So yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, please drop a like for me. That'd be absolutely amazing of you guys. And if you can sub to the channel just down below, that would also be great. And as I mentioned at the end of all my videos, if you haven't already clicked the bell yet, make sure you do click the bell, because I do tend to give out, this is just some that I've got lying around, I do tend to give out a lot, let's go over here, I've got even more over here, a lot of codes in my videos. So if that interests you guys, and you know, you obviously want to build up your collection stuff, and you'll hopefully pull good cards from the codes that I give out in my video, if you click the bell, you'll be amongst the first people to watch my videos, and therefore amongst the first people to acquire the codes that I give out. I've been Sean the Bufflon, and thank you all for watching. Peace out, guys.